Part 6 of my heraldic tour of the Canterbury Cathedral Cloister deals with Bay 14, which is devoted to Archbishop Arundel's kin of the younger generation. A third of the total of 33 shields being for his nephew and great-nephews, hence my designating it the Bay of Nephews. It is located in the West Walk, that opposite the chapter house, and was constructed by my estimation in January to February 1411. Most of the remaining individuals, not being nephews, belong to the Archbishop's wider family network in the higher nobility, hence this is very much a peerage bay, with 6 members of the royal family and 19 peers. The central 5 shields are those of his 4 great-nephews, the 4 princes who were the sons of Henry IV, surrounding their father's arms of England. At this point, none of the brothers was married, and all had been installed into the cathedral confraternity at different times. A record for the installation of the Prince of Wales is wanting, but he made pilgrimage to the cathedral in 1404, a year when the records of admission are disordered and partially destroyed, and there can be little doubt that he was similarly honoured. Prince Humphrey's arms are repeated twice, presumably because he generally accompanied his father, who often stayed with the Archbishop, and had therefore been a more frequent donor. In the overall cloister scheme, Prince Humphrey's arms occur 4 times, only exceeded by the Prince of Wales with 5 appearances. Humphrey's difference was the border argent, as we see here at 14 and 23. The Prince of Wales with his label argent is at 28. Prince Thomas inherited the label ermine of their grandfather John of Gaunt, here at 22, while Prince John inherited the label that his father had used during John of Gaunt's lifetime, combining the label ermine with a label of France pertaining to the Duchy of Lancaster, here at 20. The 4 princes were repeated at the same inner circle in the next bay. To this royal group was added the arms of Edward Plantagenet, Duke of York, at 34. He was inducted into the cathedral confraternity in 1404 and worked closely with the Archbishop on the Royal Council in 1408-9. There are 5 further arms of nephews, 4 of these great-nephews of the Archbishop, and 3 for husbands of the Archbishop's nieces. This group consists of Gilbert Lord Talbot at 33, John Mowbray the Earl Marshal at 19, Edmund Mortimer Earl of March at 9 and 30, and Thomas Fitzalan Earl of Arundel at 24. The husbands of the 3 nieces are Michael de la Pole, son and heir of Michael de la Pole Earl of Suffolk, his father's arms at 26. Father and son were both members of the cathedral confraternity. The father received in 1405 with Prince Thomas, and the son in 1409. The second husband is Thomas Montague, Earl of Salisbury, at 39, and thirdly Thomas Neville, Lord Furnivall, at 6, with the arms of his barony of Furnivall. Within the Archbishop's wider kinship group, we have a member of the Swinburne family at 37, perhaps William Swinburne, married to the Archbishop's great-niece Philippa Sergot. John Holland, Earl of Huntingdon at 10, whose mother was the Archbishop's cousin. John Lord Darcy at 29, whose mother was a Talbot. John Lord Cobham at 2, whose wife was the sister of Archbishop Courtenay. Reginald Lord Cobham of Sturborough at 1 and 27, and Thomas Lord Camoys at 5. This leaves only a very few peers who were not members of the Archbishop's wider family circle, of whom Richard Beauchamp, Earl of Warwick at 18, was inducted into the Cathedral Confraternity in 1408, his father having left a tablet of gold to Archbishop Arundel in 1401. 3 shields of particular note in this bay are firstly Hastings quartering Valence at 8 for Reginald Lord Grey of Ruthin, who contested with Edward Hastings in the Court of Chivalry for the ownership of the Maunch of Hastings and won his case in May 1410. At 38 are the arms of Clare, quartering Despencer, belonging to Constance Plantagenet, Lady Despencer. Her husband, Thomas Despencer, formerly Earl of Gloucester, was executed at Bristol in 1400 for conspiring to murder the king and his sons. Constance was well treated as the sister of Edward, Duke of York, and amazingly was placed in charge of the sons of Roger Mortimer, Earl of March, who were political prisoners and as rival claimants to the throne. One of them was Edmund Mortimer, whose arms are in this bay. In 1405, as part of a web of intrigue, she rode off with her chargers to Wales, planning to put them into the hands of the king's enemy, Owain Glyndŵr. She should have been imprisoned for life, but instead was pardoned. She has here reversed the quarterings of the arms of her husband as the mark of a dowager. Finally, the saltire of Ralph Neville, Earl of Westmoreland at 16, was repainted at the instigation of Sir Edward Deering in the early 17th century, in the colours of his bogus ancestral arms, or a saltire sable, his cousin's husband being at that time the Dean of Canterbury, Isaac Bargrave. He would doubtless have called it a reconstruction. You will find a great deal more information in the pages of my book, Great Cloister, A Lost Canterbury Tale, published by Archaeopress in 2020. It's more than just a book about the cloister, as it goes into considerable detail about each unique shield, tracing its origins. You will find here many of the great families of England up to the reign of Henry IV, and also the European kingdoms. It comprises over 700 pages, including 771 illustrations, 37 pedigrees and a detailed index. You are seeing here just a small selection of the pages. Shortly you will see on the screen details of how to find it. If you would like me to undertake research on your own family, I can be contacted via my personal website, drpaulfoxfsa.com. And finally, do please subscribe to my History and Heraldry channel on YouTube, which of course costs you nothing, so that you can follow additions to my list of talks.